I'm Lori Francis. I'm the owner and manufacturer of CRUX Expedition trailers, and I'm here today to go over the 1610 with the crew at Parris here. Usually it's always already closed up. Propane storage is here, and then when you come this way, of course, don't forget to put this down, because some people do. I dropped the CRUX hut. It's the only trailer I've ever dropped. You know, what people do is they get excited, they pull the pin out because you're gonna have a coupler that goes over this that's supplied, it's inside, and it just goes into a regular hitch, and you decide how they're gonna, how they're gonna carry it, because you always want the trailer to tow level. So anyways, once they pull the pin, make sure that's down, emergency brake, then your chains here. And then you also have a 7-pin plug here, and the 7-pin plug charges your dual batteries while you're driving. You also, on your control panel, which we'll go over later, that has shore power so that you can charge it that extra 5–10% if you're going out on a longer trip. This is just a rock guard. Some hunters have put it on a hinge so they can throw their dead deer on here instead of the back of their truck. Okay. And then this has a little pocket in here, so you push it in here and there's a little pocket right here, and you stick that little guy in there. Okay. Like this. Okay. And then you tighten this one and you walk over here like this. You put that one in that little hole. Okay. And then usually I extend it after the fact, but that's okay. And then you just do it like this, shorten this a little bit. Okay. Should have kept my heels on, huh? Yep. Okay. Okay. So all the external windows, so these on the outside and this one and the one on the other end, all have the external awnings with the shields on it. That's for weather, so that's the exposed area. So if you had your Annex up and everything, then that whole side would be covered with a roof in your Annex. So these all have these along the way here. All of these windows, like I said, they set up the same way, exactly the same way as that. There, so we can move over here. This is where your water fill is. You fill your water here. It holds 18.5 gallons. There's an air hose, and that air hose has to not be kinked, and you'll see it down below. Make sure they have that. If they have air in it, they'll have to fill it up a couple of times. Basically, this is where you do your water fill here. This is your water pump, which is enclosed because of safety reasons. All of your doors have covers on them so that you don't get keys that break off. They all have rubber seals on them, and I use rubber seals from the car industry so that they last a long time. I took kind of the guesswork, made it a little bit more user-friendly by taking the ends of the rails off. Reason being is because people were pushing them down and pressing them and then pulling out the drawer and then trying to shove it back in and breaking the rails. So they have really sturdy, heavy-duty rails, but they're really expensive. So I took those off so they can't take it all the way out unless you want to take the ends off. And then I also just made this where it just comes like this and goes inside. As well as the door handles, they tend to get loose if someone says their door isn't tightening. It's a little small bolt right here that you can just tighten in the back. But there used to be one that it clipped into on my older version. Now I just made it a cute little pocket that's carpeted, so you don't have to worry about it. Underneath you have dual independent suspension. On these you have the off-road tires. This is for your circuit breaker. Here is for if you plug it in your shore power and you blow a circuit, this is where you reset it. Just more storage here. This looks odd because it kind of hangs over here, but the reason why I did that is because I wanted it to have more space, and you have space when you come in here anyway. So don't think that you don't have it closed all the way. On all of them, you have 4 stabilizer bars. You can put those down. They're not used to pick up your suspension or let off the suspension. They're used to be leveling, so you don't have to be on a level surface anywhere that you are. You can make yourself level. People have put little levels on it if you want. You can customize it any way you want to. How I look at it is I look at the seam of the trailer, and if I know the seam is straight, because I know it's straight, then you know that your trailer's level. All the canvas is a blend. It's all been treated in a waterproof, not water resistant. It's all double stitched with the rubber backing behind it. Every single one of them have UV protectant and also mosquito midge, I think is what they call it, mosquito sand and grime. I put windows down at the bottom, just not with the screens, because even if you're in the elements and it gets really nasty out, you could still have daylight in and just be in your changing room if you don't have your annex down. But I also, you guys are like, oh my God, so many poles. I give you poles for these because these will go out like this if you want to, all the way out, put your poles in and stick them down, and you can throw like a four-wheeler here and it's in the shade. So these are just the little tidbits that I'll tell you about. So we can fold that up all the way and roll it in just like the other ones. Every single one of these are the same. They all have eyelets in the bottom of them. And then we'll go to the front. On this unit, on the back, you're gonna have shore power, and you're also gonna have a 120, and you're also gonna have a little cigarette lighter type. That's for your lights. For the inside, I added lights, people want them. With all the windows, if you have all your windows open, you totally don't need lights, but that's by choice, right? So this is your on and off. It used to be a key that came off. It doesn't, now it just stays there.
So this is displaying, we have 12.7 volts and we have 225 available amps.
Correct. And this is your water. That's easy. This is your fan, your instruments, your outlets, if you want your outlets on. This is your circuit, so if nothing's turning on, obviously this has gone over.
Circuit breaker.
Yep, circuit breaker. And this is just a cigarette lighter type 1. And then this is another inverter, so if you have your solar out and your shore power, right? Then you have to use this little cord to connect this to here. Like this.
So this is taking your 12-volt batteries, inverting through a 4,000
watt
watt
inverter
and powering up the trailer with electricity.
Right. Exactly. This is when you have your solar out. So this is for your solar inverter. Because your solar plugs in back there.
So the solar is charging those batteries, and then it's automatically wired to this, and so then you can power the trailer through this.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
This one is just storage. I used to have it with drawers and stuff, but I took them out because this is where you put all your pots and pans. I put a magnet here and hang my knives. I hang my kitchen towels here. This is your galley that comes out. The galley folds inward like this, right? And then it all folds up and these legs fold up too. I moved the tool drawer because I use the tool drawer more for my stuff for my kitchen. So I made this instead so you can put all your kitchen utensils in here. And I also made it so that your fingerprints don't show because the whole point of this is the off-road trailer. My original trailer, Dolly, that I still have, she's never been washed, she's never been waxed, she's never been serviced, she's always worked, nothing's ever gone wrong with her, and she has one rusted bolt, that's it. And she's stayed outside for over 4.5 years. That's how these trailers are supposed to be used. They're supposed to be off-road, having fun, enjoying the outdoors. And it should only take you about 2 minutes to set this part up. Here's your water. It's been tested, so there was a little water in it. That's just a quick connect. This is your extra hose. So when you're not using your sink, you're gonna put this all away anyway because this gives you your livable space if you have your Annex on. And when you put your Annex on, there's gonna be a big window here, just like the end there, and your Annex will be all the way out here. It's 7.5 feet wide and all the way down there. 198 square feet of walkable space. You have a skirt that's gonna go on here that you can access anything that you want. There's 3 zippers. Each zipper is where each door is. The rubberized floor that comes in is a fireproof, retardant, rubberized floor. So this is for that. So you basically just unplug your water, and then you can take this to your shower because your shower is right here. So you have a 5 foot by 7 foot shower room with a rubberized floor. It's not a tent like this, it's more like your camping type tent. So it will get water in it, but if it pours down rain sideways. But there's a lip on it, so it doesn't transfer to the inside, it just stays outside. Just empty it, pick up the corner, and the water's out. That was one of the things why I started CRUX, because I was just like any other person that wanted a trailer that goes off-road, that's simple, that basically you plug in your refrigerator the night before, you fill it up, you plug in your pin, 5 minutes, you're out of the door. You don't want to take things out of it, put things in it, take things out, put things in, leave everything in it, and it makes your life so much easier. If you don't have a rack on the top, which some of these don't, I prefer the ones without a rack because I paddleboard and I surf. So I like to be able to pack a bunch of stuff in the top, which I leave a ton of space in the top of the ones without the rack. The ones with the rack, you kind of have to be a little bit more where you have to push the side a little bit to get the rack, and it'll start working into what kind of load you have. You can put 350 pounds on the rack. You can put 1,500 pounds on this chassis. Okay, so this is where your refrigerator area was. This is where your changing room is. This is the back door where your refrigerator goes. That's the only thing that doesn't come with the CRUX. Everything else does. Your solar panel will be inside in the back. Every single one of my units has everything except for the refrigerator. So back here will be your Zamp solar. Your Zamp solar plugs in. We give you extra things like an extra cap for your spare tire if you, for whatever reason, you need to use it. Some people like to put reflectors on there. All that's in there. There's tons of extra keys. I'm putting extra quick connects in for people because everybody wants them. So I just started doing it because they'll need it. And then lug nuts for your spare keys, anything that extra. And then for your spare tire, so I put I have a CFX and I love it from Dometic, and it plugs in right here, and then you have a light switch here that'll turn on and off. Your fan will automatically turn on when you hit your power switch on your fan. You can keep your fan on, and what I do is I keep it on because it keeps your sheets cold if it's hot, because it's all in there, and so your bed stays nice and cool. So this is for your stabilizer legs, I'll show you that. And this bad boy is for your spare tire. And all of these will fit next to your refrigerator, and you can also fit an additional little ice maker if you wanted to in the back. This just goes into this hole here. You feel it till it clicks, you crank it down. It's on a chain system. The reason why I made it this way is there's only 2 tools for this whole thing, except for your lug nuts, because I wanted everything to be simplicity at its finest, right? You want quality products. Some things may look the same exteriorly, but when you start using them and you know that you're going off-road with your dual independent suspension, and you know that you're gonna be bouncing this sucker around, that's what it's made for. It's all galvanized steel, it's all baked, coated, shellacked, all the stuff, so you don't have to worry about anything. They don't even need to be washed or waxed. Underneath you have dual independent suspension. It's way beefier than what you even need for this chassis, but it's pretty sweet, and it started out that way, so I left it that way. All right, let's go inside. So this is your refrigeration area. I also put a bike hitch on the back. The hitch will hold 350 pounds. Really, it will hold 400 and something, but 350 pounds, so you can put your bike rack on there as well. I also put this new little doodaddy here because I think I use this room all the time, so my shoes are always wet because I fly fish. So I put them in here and I put them down, and this airs it out, or for wet dogs. This also, when it's pulled tight and staked down in the 4 corners, this is 7.5 feet long, so it'll fit a 7.5 foot cot. If you have kids, you can even get them in bunk beds. There's 6 pulls, 2 on each side by the head that you extend and snap, and I'll show those to you. Extend and snap, push up and snap, and then they just step on this one and pull it up and snap. And then you can pull that out where you want. It doesn't need to be staked down. I have people on our website or on our Facebook telling us that they were in 50-mile-per-hour winds and raining and storming, and they didn't have it staked down, and the only thing that moved was this. It came in a little bit. There's a ladder that comes with it. This is your light, plugs in here. That's where your light switchers are when you go in there. There's poles in here. The bed takes king sheets, which the reason being is because it's 7.5 feet long and 5.5 feet wide. So it doesn't fit a standard sheet on it. The other thing is that all the windows are double lined. They weren't on the 1600, just telling you guys some comparisons because you might see some of those rolling in here. So they're all double lined. So if you are out and the elements and you don't have your Annex and all that jazz on and it starts raining, you can just zip this up and you're still cool. You don't have to go outside and zip these up. It's waterproof. There's also 2 head pulls. They're little small pulls that are in this bag here of pulls. You can put those in the head compartment and take them down. Usually you can also, if you want it to be more taut, if it's going to be nasty out and you don't want it flapping around, you can put their number 3s. All of the ceilings and everything are all the same number, so they're all universal. I put 2 here and 2 there, and I throw those 2 poles on the bed, the 2 poles I put there, and the 2 poles here, and I throw them on the bed. Fold my blankies over it and leave my pillows. I keep my bed made. On this area, in between the changing room and here, that's the same thing. I mean, we're not really worried about cold now, but I've never used a heater in my life. So if you roll this down and you roll your windows up, this will hold your body heat, just like your dad's old army tent. That's what I had when I was little. So that's it really on this part. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once you start using it, you realize how simple it really is.